As we transition from books 6 to 7, it's that time of the year for back-to-back new heroes banners, followed by Christmas and New Year's. Starting off that gauntlet will be the Rearmed Ganglöt and Mystery of the Emblem banner. You'll be able to grab Nyna, not Evil Hardin, Rearmed Ganglöt, and Ascended Young Tiki. We'll talk about everyone's stats and skills, plus discuss playstyle and general builds. Got a lot of text on these weapons, so let's get started. In addition to the focus units, we have an instant demote thanks to Gong taking a spot. If you watch the new Fire Emblem Engage trailer, we have Bad Red Marth. Well, his sister Elice is here to smack him around. Unfortunately, no free copies, but she is available in the Demote pool starting right now. I want to talk about Elice first because she's an infantry healer, and our banner Demote is also an infantry healer. That's a bit disappointing since healer builds are a bit limited. Regardless, for stats, Elice has 40 HP, 41 attack, 35 speed, 27 defense, and 34 resistance. She will have an attack super boon, and that would tie her for highest base attack for all healers, but technically not the highest of Dragon Flowers. Still, 41 attack is very high for a healer, and 35 speed is workable if you wanted to try a combative build. 27 defense and 34 res is not crazy, but it is a balanced defensive spread. Unfortunately, if you wanted to use res-based support skills, you're going to need to invest in res boosters a bit more. For old skills, well, Elice has only old skills. She has Restore Plus as her healing assist and Heavenly Light as her special. She brings attack and res ideal 3 into the Demote pool, although it's on a couple heroic grail units. Attack and res gap is also new to the Demote pool, but it's been locked to the seasonal Ileana alts, so nice to see and easier to get. Regarding Elice's staff, Trilemma Plus, this thing is a relic long forgotten. After combat, it basically puts Triangle Depth as a status effect on enemies. Trilemma debuted with Maribel, and that was it. She even got a unique Trilemma staff for herself and a refine that played around Trilemma with Cancel Affinity. Maribel's punishment staff with the refine is the best way to use Trilemma, but at least you can slap it on some other healers now if you want. In terms of builds, healers have not really had a lot of progression here, and if you don't have a unique staff, then basically everyone can run all the same things. If you just need them to heal, then technically higher attack equals more healing, but generally that's not a huge issue. For Elice, her base kit is fine to keep, but it's nothing special. Trilemma requires you to utilize other units after you apply Triangle Depth to enemies, so you should use it with Dazzling Staff as the refine to stay safe. Attack and Res Gap buffs a teammate, which you could do with another support Sacred Seal and good old Wings of Mercy. Elice could also run double attack and res ideal 3 skills for a basic plus 10 attack and res, but if you really only care about boosting attack, then you're going to need to use Wrathful Staff. With that in mind, if you do want a combat medic, then you could try some of the newer skills healers can run. They can use finish 4A skills, and with the 1 cooldown bomb specials and times pulse, you can pre-charge your special. The Oath 4C skills grant self buffs, and the warping could benefit even non-combative staffs. For Sacred Seals, healers can run bonus doubler and no follow-up if you really want. With bonus doubler and the hard to get observant staff, you could stack a good amount of stats everywhere, which could be fun to try out. The cheaper combat staffs are the Palm Staff for -5 attack and speed deals, and it's a rain effect that helps allies. You could also use the Staff Attribute for plus 6 defense and res and 7 HP healing. Both of those could be paired with the new Quicker Pulse 4, which is on this banner. I think this is the only way for non-armored healers to gain damage reduction of any kind, so that is pretty interesting. If you would instead want a more traditional support unit, then you may want res boosters like Fortress Defense and Res, or the new Stillwater A skill that can activate sabotage or ploy effects. You could also use Chill Devos and then the ally buffing skills like Infantry Pulse, or maybe the new Infantry No Follow C skill. Overall, Elice is in a weird spot. She's not bad, but healers continue to kind of just feel all the same, which makes it tough for the non-5-star ones to stand out. You basically just pick your favorite. Her HP and res are not the highest for support skills, even if you can make it work. That leaves her with the offensive builds, and those are still limited, although that applies to all healers. To kind of emphasize those points, we have our 4-star focus unit of the banner, Nyna. You can get her at 4-star and 5-star rarity, and she'll join Elice in the 3 to 4-star Demote pool after the banner is over. Princess Nyna is also an infantry healer. For stats, she has 40 HP, 34 attack, 41 speed, 23 defense, and 38 resistance. She has speed and res super boons, and those are her focus stats compared to Elice. Nyna is quite fast for a healer and has similar stats to Crusader and Scion Nana, although you gotta add plus 10 res. Nyna will be able to use those res based support skills much better, but her attack and defense stats are lower to compensate. For old skills, Nyna has Physic Plus and Miracle. She comes with Drive Defense 2, which isn't new, and then she has Sabotage Speed 3. This was Ewan's only worthwhile skill as an ephemeral combat manual for this month, and they couldn't wait to put it into the demo pool before he even left. This Sabotage is quite rare, so it's good to have on a 3 to 4 star unit. For Inheritable Staff, Nyna has Respite Plus, which is not exactly new. It grants +2 defense and res and the guard effect to allies within 2 spaces. This is the exact same weapon as Winter Sephiron's Tanabaton Plus Staff. He's a seasonal 5 star unit, but you could buy his combat manual in the normal 3 Divine Code shop. Sephiron has some other good skills though, so this is another way to get his pretty interesting weapon. AoE Drive Guard for teammates is a nice perk for defensive formations like defense teams. Pretty good ability to have if you have a save skill army unit as well. This is a little more easier and practical to use than Trilemma, and it's nice to have another way to get it. As with Elice, Nyna can run basically any of these same skills. If you want an offensive build, Nyna has more speed to utilize in exchange for damage, but if you want a combat medic, then you do need to boost her defense a good bit more. With her higher speed, you could use the No Follow-Up Sacred Seal, although for obvious reasons, you probably want to use it on an actual combative unit. What Nyna can do better than Elice is boosting up her res stat to more effectively apply Sabotage or Ploy Debos. 38 base isn't too bad, and she has that super boon to go even higher. You could use Still Water, but if you don't need Nyna to actually attack, then Fortress Defense and Res may just be better. In addition to Sabotage Speed and any Ploy Devos, you could stack Defense and Res with the Respite Plus Staff. It grants that +2, so you could do Double Distant or Close Guard for another +8 to Nyna's allies. For some other support skills we didn't mention, there are the potent, even or odd recovery C skills. You could use the 1 tier 3 dual chill we got if you have it. Nyna could also just run other support staffs like the Joyous Lantern from last year's Winter Erica Ephemera, and the other options like the Staff of 12 from Crusader Nana just for extra healing each turn. Overall, between Elice and Nyna, we have 2 new infantry Demote healers to merge up. Both have some fun uses, but generally speaking, they aren't going to do anything mind-blowing compared to the 5-star healers like August, Sarah, or Elamine. While an Arcane Staff would be interesting, perhaps it's time for healers to expand their roles. Maybe some new specific skills could help them out, and maybe new specials could change things up as well. If you wanted any new healers from Engage to be in Fae like Fram, then maybe they can shake things up with their martial arts mechanic. Our next banner unit is a bit more spicy. Hardin is back, but this time not all evil and stuff. The Coyote's men were introduced last year, and now the Coyote himself is ready to lead the charge. Hardin will be a Lance Cavalier with 41 HP, 41 attack, 44 speed, 32 defense, and 21 resistance. He is an attack super boon for more firepower, and this man is zooming without that heavy armor. 45 base speed is right behind Ascended Air and is even faster than Brave Erica and Crom, base stat wise at least. Hardin will however have to sacrifice his defense and res for his offensive prowess. For all the skills, he's going to come with Draconic Aura and Search Sparrow. As you can probably tell, Hardin will need that % max HP healing if he wants to keep fighting multiple times. The Coyote Lance is just a mountain of effects, and Hardin gets all of them. However, this weapon also helps allies as well. At start of turn, if Hardin is within 3 spaces of any ally, grant the following to Hardin and counter allies within 3 spaces for 1 turn. They get +6 attack and speed field buffs and a status effect that grants a follow-up attack when initiating. Oh boy. Now for Hardin only, he also gets excited specials, and if he initiates combat or is within 2 spaces of an ally, he gets another +6 attack and speed in combat, 40% damage reduction for 1 hit, and then true damage per hit equal to the number of spaces moved by whoever initiated combat times 3. If someone moves 3 spaces, you hit the max +9 true damage. Does not apply to AoE specials. Dang. The Coyote's Lance is stacked and makes Hardin a wonderful horse emblem team pick. This guy can basically give all nearby Cavaliers Hone Cavalry buffs, and a free follow-up attack just makes everyone more deadly. Keep in mind, it's for player phase only, but you can allow faster Cavaliers to cancel out fall prevention effects, and you give your slower Cavs a better chance for the KO. For example, Hardin can give Reinhardt easy quads if the foe does not stop his assault. The Ninja Brave weapons are also returning this month, so maybe keep that in mind. Now in terms of personal combat, Hardin gets the field buffs and the free follow-up. He is not slow, so you can use the follow-up as a substitute for flow B skills. He can punch through wary fighter abilities, and you still get Kanto to get out. Hardin also just gains a crap ton of extra damage, plus 12 attack, and another plus 9 true damage potentially. He then got 40% DR, which Hardin does need with his lower defense and res stats. Overall, very fun unit who has quite some player phase power. Hardin will bring one new inheritable skill, and that's attack and speed near trace 3, enables contour remaining +1, and inflicts -3 attack and speed in combat. Nothing crazy, just another near trace variation. Flyers could maybe stack it with attack and speed rain debuffs to be extra annoying. Overall, Hardin is a full-on offensive Lance Cavalier. Like Brave Erica, he does depend on his damage reduction a bit and Surge Sparrow's healing to keep fighting, so you may want to run lower cooldown specials. Draconic Aura is fine, but Moonbow or Ruptured Sky may be worth trying out as well. Ideally, Hardin tanks a hit with his damage reduction, and Surge Sparrow brings his health bar back up on the second hit, assuming his special is active. Hardin doesn't have no guard or no follow-up like Erica does, so he can be stopped easier. Still, Hardin enables other cavalry allies, and that can be pretty valuable, especially for his own Coyote's Men cavalry squad. If you don't got a fancy C skill, maybe just go with the old fortified cavalry to fully buff up adjacent allies. If you do go premium though, attack smoke or speed smoke 4 wouldn't be bad for some enemy phase safety. If you want to focus on damage, you could try the new Seal Defense 4 for basically -11 defense. Guard would also be pretty nice as well, which you could proc via a menace skill. One of Erica's weaknesses is dying to a special even with damage reduction, so this may be worth trying out. You could also just use Flow Guard itself, even though it is a little redundant. Technically though, Hardin's follow-up status can be negated by defensive no follow-up, and if that happens, he can't double if the foe has regular follow-up prevention. The new Dual Duma does exactly that, so flow skills can still be useful here. If you're worried about guard effects or just want to use something like Dragon Fang, you can take Heavy Blade. If you want to try Gale Force training, then you may want to swap Surge Sparrow to other boosters like Clash, Catch, or Solo skills. It's fine to keep though for general content. Hardin with some Wings of Mercy calves he buffed up could be some fun stuff there. Overall, quite a neat unit. Hardin has some tough Lance Cavalry competition, but none of them provide team benefits, which has to be considered here. Hardin can make any player phase Cavalier even deadlier, whether it's for letting slower units double or just generally buffing attack and speed. I'm really surprised with how he turned out here. Next up on the banner is Rearmed Ganglöt with the coveted Arcane Axe. Ganglot is an axe infantry unit with 40 HP, 44 attack, 30 speed, 38 defense, and 35 res. She has an attack and defense super boons and basically has the highest base attack and res stats for this class, along with a pretty high defense stat too. Ganglot is not min-max like Hellbindi, and 30 base speed is very awkward, although it can be utilized with some investment. Overall, sort of similar to a Balthus or Kalik type axe user, but Ganglot does move points in HP into her other stats. For old skills, we got a res-based kit, Iceberg, Distance Stance, and Joint Distant Guard. Ganglot will be able to fire off some hefty Iceberg procs. That will be facilitated by the Arcane Downfall Axe, our third arcane weapon. To get the Arcane Downfall, you need a Silver Axe. You can get that from Gunter. As a reminder, you cannot use this weapon with another unique skill on the same unit. Alright, as for the weapon itself, we got a peek at this thing in the Tempest Trials, specials. At start of combat, if the unit has more than 25% HP, you get +5 to all stats, you prevent a follow-up attack, you get +1 special charge per action, and you heal 7 HP on hit. The biggest thing to note is that there is no free follow-up attack, which means Arcane Downfall might not be the best for slower axe units if you're looking to KO stuff. However, this weapon is inherently pretty defensive in nature, and that's why Ganglot comes with Distant Counter. The accelerated specials and breath-type cooldown also makes this axe incredibly valuable for Cavaliers and Flyers because they struggle so hard to get cooldown reduction. You can stat refine this thing, which means +5 HP and either +4 defense or res. That's even more defensive bulk as well. You could also just go for +3 speed, and in total, +8 speed from this axe isn't bad at all. In fact, fast units like Femoshez could utilize this weapon decently well. They use their speed for offense, while Arcane Downfall provides defensive capabilities. While Arcane Downfall may seem better on faster units, Ganglot actually provides a solution for the slower users. Quicker Pose 4 is in. Seems like we're on a mission to revamp the old school B skills. Personally, I'd like to see what a Brash Assault 4 could be. For Quick Riposte 4, very simple upgrade. If unit has more than 25% HP and foe initiates combat, you get 25% damage reduction for one hit, and you make a free follow-up attack. Like the Armor Fighter B skills, Quick Riposte now has that 25% HP condition, which is a massive improvement. You then get damage reduction to keep it active. Very simple. If you don't use the Arcane Downfall, you could maybe pair Quicker Post 4 with our recent Wyvern Ninja Dofre's Brave Weapons. Ninja Camilla could get advantage and Quicker Post. That'd be pretty funny. As for dragons, this is a sort of in-between of Dragon's Ire and Wrath. It's a side grade at best, I would say. Before moving on, let's talk about Ganglot's fodder value because it's insane. If the axe user already has Distant Counter, Quicker Post 3 and Distant Guard 3, plus the base Silver Axe, you can get every one of Ganglot's tier 4 yellow skills and the Arcane Axe. If you don't have DC, which is understandable, you can still do the Arcane Downfall, plus Quicker Post 4, plus base Distant Counter, and then Distant Stance. That's still pretty great. You could also swap Quicker Post out for Joint Distant Guard. You could also straight up ignore the axe if you wanted. Point being, make sure you get as many skills out of Ganglot as you can. I know 20,000 feathers for Quicker Post 3 kind of sucks, but that's a fine trade-off here. Moving on to builds and playstyles, Ganglot can work out of the box. She uses the classic Distant Counter plus Quicker Post build, upgraded with modern parts, and her kit basically mirrors Hell's kit with some adjustments. Instead of Guard Bearing, Quicker Post 4 still provides damage reduction. Instead of Hell's Spectrum Rain debuffs, we got Joint Distant Guard. We upgraded Distant Counter, and instead of Miracle on her weapon, the Arcane Downfall has some other defensive measures like Follow-up Denial, Healing, and general extra stats. I like the parallel of the kits going on. Now at Arcane Downfall's extra special cooldown skills, Ganglot can tank one hit, then instantly fire back with Iceberg. That Iceberg gets plus 14 bonus res with this kit for around 25-ish extra damage, and if the enemy survives that, she can do it again with another Quicker Post hit. Some issues though for Ganglot. Swordmaster type units are in no shortage in Fae, and every one of those guys has or likes to run some form of no follow-up. That means no follow-up denial and no Quicker Post. If you just want to survive, you could try Shield Pulse out. Arcane Downfall has the tools to run the Pavis or Aegis setup over and over, but you don't get the follow-up insurance. If you go for a pure melee build, maybe grab a tier 3 Dose Stance for guard. You could also try something like Bonus Doubler for just a ton of total stats overall if you can fully buff up. Another option is a low B skill. As an infantry unit, Ganglot does have some interesting combos possible. For example, if you did just want to try a speed build, you could do Tech and Speed Finish, no follow-up go in the B slot or Sacred Seal slot. You could then run Attack and Speed Oath 4 or Attack and Speed Menace for player phase power, and you could even still run Quicker Post 4, Shield Pulse, low B skill, or even Temple or Bulwark. There are some wacky setups possible. Finish 4 plus Bulwark could work here and has a crap ton of healing. With no follow-up and the Arcane Downfall, you actually stop units like Hardin from doubling, like we discussed. That stops anyone trying to use a fruit follow-up to double. With all the extra special cooldown, you can toss Special Spiral or Aether somewhere in here. Maybe even use the Miracle Special just to be extra annoying like the original Hell. Overall, Ganglot will be fun to use for general content, but like other slower axe units, her player phase is a bit non-existent unless you can double via speed. She has a lot of skill options, but you have to revamp her base kit if you want to do something besides the basic enemy phase tanking. Unfortunately, without a unique skill, you can also simply run her whole kit on another unit. There are a lot of free-to-play friendly axe units that would love Arcane Downfall whether they are slow or fast. To be fair though, it's a big badass scythe, so understandably I'm sure we'll see this axe pop up all over the place very soon. Last up on the banner is Ascended Young Tiki. She has Mini Mart's blue cape and brings a whole load of skill effects to abuse. This Tiki will be a red infantry dragon with 38 HP, 42 attack, 44 speed, 32 defense, and 36 res. She will have speed and res super boons. Res is a little important for this Tiki, so you may want to use the Ascended asset on that. This higher res stat does come at the cost of lower HP and defense, but this Tiki has a crazy amount of protection elsewhere. Like the Halloween Corns, she's a trainee, so basically Gen 8 BST as well. For old skills, we only have Iceberg. Yeah, there's a lot to go over here. We'll start with Tiki's Awoken Breath. This Dragonstone exercises specials and is effective against dragons. If Tiki's within 3 spaces of an ally, she gets plus 5 tall stats, extra special charge per action, the full low effect and neutralized field boss, and if the foe has a damage special, and Tiki has 5 or more res than them, she inflicts plus 1 special count on the foe before their first attack. Okay, so Awoken Breath should feel familiar because it's very similar to Brave Tiki's weapon, adjusted for a faster stat spread. Instead of a free follow-up attack, this Tiki gets rid of field buffs, and instead of the cooldown reduction before her first attack, Tiki has breath type cooldown. That's still a good effect to have. What is the same is the Ascended Tiki keeps Brave Tiki's counter to pre-charged specials. You need to win a res check by 5 or more, so that's why you may want to take that Super Res Super Boom. This is a very strong perk to have, so you really want to outdo the enemy here. Ascended Tiki has a unique C skill called All Together. It's a little confusing, but I rewrote it. First off, it grants +4 to all stats to all allies within 2 spaces. That is the only support part of the skill. For Tiki herself, if she's within 2 spaces of an ally, she also gets +4 to all stats and reduces the first attack by X%. This is equal to the number of allies within 2 spaces times 20, max of 40%. In addition, Tiki reduces damage from area of effect specials by another percentage. This time X is equal to number of allies within 2 spaces times 40, max of 80% DR. 2 different X values, but they both max out with 2 nearby allies. In combat, Tiki can get 40% DR for 1 hit. If the foe has an AoE special, she gets a massive 80% damage reduction. Overall, basically, Tiki has a Spectrum Joint Drive buff. She gets damage reduction in combat and damage reduction before combat, and essentially she has a counter to any kind of pre-charged special. That is pretty wild, and these damage reduction effects do not do a res check of any kind. They check for nearby allies though, which means Ascended Tiki is a bit tied down to her team. That's going to make it tougher to use her high offensive stats to make the first move. Now for inheritable passives, Tiki brings Speed and Res Finish 4. If unit is within 3 spaces of an ally, grant +7 Speed and Res, and if special is ready or has triggered, you deal 5 damage per hit and heal 7 HP per hit. Like her Brave counterpart, Finish 4 skills are very good on this Tiki. She doesn't charge her special before her first attack, however she has that extra cooldown for when she is attacked first. That can get a special charge in time for the counter attack. Last new skill is Speed and Res Bulwark 3. You can get the Super Obstruct effect, which blocks ranged foes 2 spaces out, which means you can hide an ally right behind Tiki. You inflict -4 Speed and Res on the foe, and that also helps Awoken Breath's res check. You then got the 7 HP healing after combat. Ascended Tiki puts the Finish plus Bulwark build together, and that can offer a lot of healing while frontlining for your team. While Ganglot is a fodder monster, I don't think Tiki will be the same despite having rare new skills of her own. Her Speed and Res variants are a bit more specialized, but they fit Tiki herself perfectly. Let's put everything together now. With Awoken Breath and All Together, you can get an easy +9 to all stats on top of Tiki's trainee balanced stat spread. Her HP may be a bit low, but you also have to get past damage reduction skills, and she has counters to any type of pre-charge special. You can easily run the distant counter Sacred Seal, and on Tiki's counter tech, she'll unleash Iceberg with a bonus damage from Finish 4, and she heals back up a bit as well. Even more healing after combat comes from Bulwark, and it has that in combat debuff going as well. As a little team bonus, Tiki then has her Spectrum Drive buffs. All in all, another scary, super fast dragon. One issue for Tiki compared to say Halloween Female Corrin though is that she is tethered to her team if you want All Together to be active. You need 2 nearby allies for the 40% DR. With distant counter builds, that's fine, but for player phase initiations, you may only get 20% damage reduction or none at all. You also cannot instantly proc Glimmer on initiations like Brave Tiki can. To me, the only real changes to her kit may come from replacing Bulwark in the B slot. You may want no Follow-Up or Dragon's Wrath, which could offer more damage reduction and bonus damage. If you don't run Distant Counter, you can use the Seal slot for another stat booster. Another option is Dragon Wall. Damage reduction for all hits is great, especially with the Ninja Brave weapons making their reruns this month. You'll lose some res debuffs, but Tiki does a fine job stacking res anyway. Just make sure it's high enough, since denying those pre-charged specials like Ruptured Sky will be very valuable. Overall, Ascended Tiki looks like another annoying dragon to take down if she is with her teammates. Might need to call in that red Engage Marth to knock her down a peg. Luckily, this one can't run Savior, but if she keeps Bulwark, then you may need to deal with her first anyway. If you can lure her out to attack, then All Together is less effective, or it just may not be active at all. That's the best way to take Tiki out, otherwise you gotta match her incredible amount of stats. That'll be it for this banner breakdown. Not the most exciting situation for our new Demotes, but quite a lot going on for the 5-star units. Like many, I'll be trying my hand at getting a hold of Ganglot's Axe. I am thinking of giving it to my summer set, but I may also hold off until I see the next opening banner for book 7. I'd like to get some multiple copies if possible as well. For those not summoning, our next Grand Hero battle unit is Mathis. We'll talk about what he can do in the next video. Good luck on your summons. Thank you for watching, and I will see you guys next time.